as Mrs. Claus, and we are counting down the days until Christmas by doing a different Christmas recipe, sweets and treats, of course, each day. And so let's go to our Advent calendar and find out what's for today. I'm so excited. December 8th, and we have one of my favorites, Russian tea cakes. These are actually quite simple to make, and they are so good to eat. So let me wash my hands, get the ingredients out, and I will be right back with you. Now, if you would like the full ingredients list so that you can follow along and make these with me, go to www.crafterscountdown.com and you'll find those there. All right, give me just a second. My hands are clean, and so now we're going to go ahead and get started. So we need our mixing bowl, and the first things we're going to add are our butter, and sugar and salt. So there's our salt and our sugar. This is confectioner's sugar, so it's a little bit different than your regular sugar. And then our vanilla. So that it smells like Christmas. All right, and then we will get this into our mixer. We've softened the butter so that it's room temperature. It's supposed to be softened. So if you don't have one of these fancy machines or electric mixers, you could just use that muscle and do it by hand. That'll be good too. You want to start it on slow so your powdered sugar doesn't fluff up everywhere. You can slowly make it faster. Now, we also need to have really finely chopped nuts. Walnuts are what I use for this recipe. And so you remember we used the wacka-wacka chopper the other day, but I'm going to go ahead and go back to the food processor chopped because they need to be really finely chopped. You don't want big chunks. Since it's going to be noisy, I'm going to go ahead and run both at the same time. All right, so I've got those chopped and this completely mixed. Now we add the flour a little at a time. So I wanted to show you something called the dip level pour method for this. So a lot of times I've already got the flour pre-measured, but when they call for a measured cup of flour, then what works really well is to fill your cup a little bit fuller than it needs to be. And then you take the back side, the straight side of one of your butter knives, and you dip this, and then you level it, and that takes off the excess, and then you pour it into your batter or your mix or whatever. Now, I know that a lot of the bread recipes will tell you that when you dip like this, you are actually compacting the flour in there and you're getting more flour. It's a little bit more dense. And so for breads, they don't recommend doing this. Most of your pastry sweets recipes are perfectly fine to dip level pour. And so your other options are to scoop in like this so that you don't get it packed. And then you can level it off. And then if you're really fancy and have a kitchen scale, then you would go by weight measurements instead of these kind of measurements. So we're going to add this slowly to our mixer here. And then we will go ahead and add our nuts. I know that some years my mom does pecans and some years she does walnuts. So Just kind of depends on what the harvest is and how well it's doing. Right, and you can see that I've gotten these very finely ground so that they have 0 chunks in them. Okay, and you can see how that looks in there. And then we're going to stir this just so it's stirred in together. We don't want to overmix this. Okay, and now we will go ahead and preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Now, these don't flatten like the ginger molasses cookies that we made the other night do. They really do stay into a little round ball. And so when we form these, I'm going to use a scoop so that I make sure I stay a little more consistent to the same size with each one. Now, these will crumble if you try to roll them in between your hand like that. So this is more of a squish it together kind of ball. All right, and then we will place these on an ungreased cookie sheet. You don't need to grease them this time. So your balls should be approximately 1 inch. If they're a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, that's okay. We're going to squish these together. So go ahead and give me a moment. I will finish this up and then we'll get them put in the oven. Right, there we go. Now, these are, it says about 1 inch apart. Again, they don't spread, so this is good. Let me get these in the oven. We're going to bake these for 8 to 10 minutes. So we're going to keep a close eye on those because we want them to be firm, but we don't want them to start browning. So you're not going to see a lot of difference when you pull them out. And I'll show you in about 8 minutes, okay? Oh, there goes our oven. Let's go check on them. Perfect. While these are still hot, we want to roll them in confectioner's sugar. So, I'm going to be very careful. Right, let me get the rest of these done. Right, and then these have been let to cool completely. And so now we're going to just roll them in confectioner's sugar one more time. Give them a nice final coat. And then put those on a pretty, pretty tray. These are so wonderful. Like I said, when I was a little girl, these were some of my favorites. I just loved it when Mom made these. And that, except for finishing this up, that does us for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll come back tomorrow on December 9th when we find out what sweet treat we're going to be baking then. Remember, you can get the recipes at www.crafterscountdown.com. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.